about what we built in the last quarter, Q4 of 2022. So we have built some amazing functionalities in the PSA RMM platform we have in SuperOps. And in the next 40 minutes, we'll be talking about those functionalities. And I'll also be giving you a demo of those functionalities. And please do feel free to raise any questions that you have in the Q&A panel. I will be picking up those questions and answering to those questions towards the end of the session. So please do not wait for me to complete the entire presentation to ask your questions. Feel free and ask your questions as and when they pop in your head. Okay, so a quick introduction into who we are is how we're going to start the session. Most of you would have already known SuperOps. Some of you may have already attended one of my previous webinars. If so, thank you so much for keep on attending the sessions. And some of you might be new to SuperOps. Some of you may not have an idea of who SuperOps is and what we're doing. So a quick introduction into who we are to set the context for everyone here. SuperOps has a unified PSA RMM platform. So there are several PSA platforms in the market like HaloPSA and Atera and Synchro. And there are also RMM platforms like Ninja and Pulseway and so on. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to build a unified platform that provides both PSA and RMM together in a single platform. And not just that, not just the PSA and RMM, but also other aiding functionalities like project management, IT documentation, and reporting as well. So we have bundled all of the core functionalities of an MSP into a single platform. And that is what we want to provide to the MSP industry. And our platform also integrates with the ecosystem of tools, which we know that most of you use in your everyday activities, like PackSite or Splashtop or QuickBooks. These are systems that are already existing in your tech stack, and you would like to continue using those for various reasons. And our platform integrates deeply with all of these and much more. And to quickly give you this information, we have open APIs for both PSA and RMM, which means you can integrate with any other tool that you would like to use on both the ends, PSA and RMM, with our platform. So the main thing that we have tried to solve for is to bring in 5 or 6 solutions that you're currently using together in one platform. And this is not just in terms of the number of tools that you use, it also translates to the amount of money that you spend on tools, and also the friction that you would go through when you switch from one tool to another, especially when there is an issue. When there is a ticket raised by your client, and if you have to check which asset this ticket belongs to, you shouldn't have to go in and log into your RMM separately, but instead, you should be able to look into the asset directly from your PSA platform. This is just one example of how a unified platform will help you. But we have reimagined the way PSA RMM should work together, and we have built SuperOps in that way. Now, a quick setting the context for the vision for MSP industry, because there are already 10 years, 20 years old vendors like Kaseya and ConnectWise in the industry. So why did we want to come into this industry, and why did we build SuperOps? We have a vision, and we are confident that we will realize that vision because of the product that we are building. Our vision is that we want to be the most trusted platform for MSPs worldwide. And internally, we keep talking that by 2026 or 2027, we are going to call ourselves the operating system for MSPs, which means that for an MSP to run their business, they need not have to look beyond SuperOps, right? It can be one single system that you have, and all of your operational and business needs should be taken care by one single platform. Because as it is, MSPs deal with multiple clients and multiple issues and troubleshootings. So an added complexity of having a complex tech stack should not be the case for MSPs. And for that, we need to be the most trusted platform. We understand that the PSA RMM platform sits at the center of an MSP. It is the business center, it is the profit center of an MSP. You make money, you make the revenue using your PSA RM solution. If your PSA solution does not capture the time that your technician spends, then you're losing the money on the table. So we understand that the PSA RMM platform that MSPs use are core to the success of your business. And hence, we want to make sure that our platform is the most trusted platform so that MSPs can truly focus on building their business. And in spite of there being vendors with 10 years and 20 years of time in the industry, there are still gaps between what the MSPs need versus what is available with the vendors. And we want to bridge that gap. We want to bridge the gap through innovation in technology like automation and AI. And by building this gap, we believe that we can become your success partner. So we do not want to be just a vendor MSP relationship, but we want to be a partner in your success journey. We want to start small with you and help you grow and grow along with you and become a part of your success journey. And this is our vision. And how could we realize this vision? We need some core values so that we are able to reach this vision and henceforth help the MSPs around the world. We want to maintain the core values of simplicity, reliable consistency, and excellence. By simplicity, we mean simplicity in everything that we do, be it customer interactions, be it the support, be it product building, or even this webinar. We want to keep it simple and usable. We do not want to make it complex, no more than what is needed, right? So simplicity sits at the center of everything that we do. And reliable consistency. If some of you are our customers, our existing customers, you would know that we have a public board for our feedback and feature request, and we follow that diligently. We take upon the feature request from the board, from the public board, and we make sure that we are building those features consistently. And on top of it, our support responds in less than 10 seconds. Our customers have attested to it. So we have a reliable support. So in both the product building and our support, we maintain reliable consistency. And when it comes to excellence, before we started building the product, we analyzed the Kasayas and ConnectWise of the MSP world. And we have identified that the simple UI of these solutions are so complex and outdated. If you look at ServiceNow, Jira, or Freshdesk and Freshservice, for example, their UI is so modern, and it really translates to efficiency and productivity. And we want to provide that kind of excellent UI and excellent efficiency for the MSP world. So these are our core values, which we think are our pillars to reach our vision. Now, that said, with our vision and the feature request, the public board that I mentioned, and we also get expert guidance through our customer advisory board, CAP, where we have Kristen and many experts from the industry and also MSPs who have reached $1 million in revenue sitting in our CAP board, helping us build our product. Now, all these three put together drives our development teams. We are focusing on increasing the efficiency of your technicians, increasing your client satisfaction, and making sure that you achieve predictable profitability and cash flow. Let me give you an example of how this works. Let's say that one of our product managers thinks about a feature that he or she wants to build. Now, this person aligns the feature that they want to build with one of these three themes. The feature will be built only if it increases your efficiency, or if it increases your client satisfaction, or if it helps you reach predictable profitability and cash flow. So every feature, every functionality that goes into our product is fact-checked against these three themes, and only then it is taken up for production. I'm reinforcing this to give you the confidence that what we are building with the aim of helping you with your business. That said, I would like to launch a quick poll to just get an understanding of how many of you here have already used SuperOps and how many of you would like to try SuperOps. I will be demoing the solution, the different functionalities of it. But before I go into that, I would like to get an idea of how many of you are already existing users and how many of you would like to have a trial of the solution. So please go ahead and respond to this poll. Okay, looks like most of you have answered. I'll just give 10 more seconds for the rest of you to respond to the poll as well. If you'd like to get a free trial for the full functional platform for 21 days, go ahead and select the first option. The full functional demo gives you access for all of the functionalities that are available in our platform, which is included in the highest package that we provide. So you'll be able to use all of the functionalities for the 21 days before you get to decide. Okay, thank you so much for responding to the poll. Looks like we have a bunch of paying customers. I'm very happy to see that. Thank you so much for joining the session. All of you customers are going to make this session very interacting and engaging. Thank you. Okay, so now here comes the interesting part. What's new? What did we build new in the last quarter? So these are the high-level functions that we have built. Because we have limited time, I have chosen the high-level functionalities that we have built, which is the first one and the most famous one is the inbuilt quote management. I'm sure many of you would be using tools like Zomentum and QuoteWorks or ITWorks, IT Quotes, all of these tools to help you with quote management. We thought, why not build it within our PSA RMM solution? Naturally, the main purpose of an MSP is to build a quote and to send an invoice. So why not get it within SuperOps? So we've built that. We've also had requests for deferred patching. We've built that as well. And Wake on LAN Windows is also a request that we've received from our customers. We've built that as well. And we've also added a reminder for the contract line items. And we have also enabled the HaloPSA integration. So we're going to see a demo of all of these functionalities right away. Okay, so quoting. When we thought about quoting, we wanted to understand and match with one of our 3 themes. And we realized that having a smooth quoting process will really help MSPs with achieving a predictable cash flow. And it will also eliminate any of the surprises in the billing process. I would like to remind all of you here that if you have any questions, please go ahead and raise it in the Q&A panel. Our chat seems to be disabled, but the Q&A is still open. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and raise them in the Q&A panel. Okay, so having a smooth and streamlined quoting process really helps you achieve a predictable cash flow and eliminates any of the surprises in the billing process. Now, here's a quick look of how it might actually happen. So let's say Peter is an owner of an MSP, and Peter receives a call from a client. The client wants to onboard 5 new employees in the next 2 weeks. Now, as an MSP, Peter wants to immediately get into action and start the work because onboarding 5 new employees in 2 weeks' time is not enough time to do everything properly. So he gets to it, he creates the tickets, assigns the technicians, and starts work on them. Now, to onboard 5 new employees, Peter has to purchase the hardware and software for all 5 of them. He does that as well. He either pays them upfront or he is going to go in debt with the vendor and he gets all of the hardware and software. And then once everything is done, Peter sends the invoice to client for all the 5 new employees so that the client A will pay him. And with that payment, Peter can then pay his vendors and technicians. Now, what happens is client is actually surprised with the amount that is mentioned in the invoice because yes, client did ask for the onboarding of 5 new employees, but the client did not expect the amount that was provided in the invoice. Now, because of this, the client pushes back the payment and Peter, the MSP like you, is in a tight spot to pay his vendors and his technicians. Now, in this flow, you can see that here are the areas where the real pain points exist, where the client is surprised, and you, Peter, is in a tight spot to pay the vendors and technicians. Now, let's reimagine this flow. Let's say Peter does receive a call from the client for onboarding new employees, but instead of getting to work on the tickets, Peter generates a quote and shares it with the client for approval. So Peter decides which vendor he's going to buy the laptops from, which software he's going to buy, and he sends the quote for approval. Now, client A still finds this more expensive than he originally imagined, so he makes suggestions on the devices purchased. Now, Peter is able to revise the same code instead of creating a new code. He revises the same code and sends it back for the approval. Now, at this point, client is happy with the code and he approves the code. And Peter receives the payment on time. Technicians are happy. Vendor is happy. Everyone is happy. Now, in this flow, you can see that the major problem has been fixed right at the beginning, where the code was generated even before the work was started, and the client gets the opportunity to make changes before they receive an invoice, and Peter does not have to create a new version of the code or a new code. Instead, Peter can update the same code and maintain the code trail. Also, there is no surprise when it comes to billing and invoices, and there is predictability in the cash flow. Now, this is what we wanted to do when we built code management. All of the other code management tools like Zomentum and CodeWorks and IT Codes still have not solved for this particular problem. And hence, when we built code management, we wanted to identify exactly where the pain point happens and fix that. Now, let's have a quick look at coding. Let me show it to you right here. Okay, so here what you see is the SuperOps demo. And for those of you who have not seen SuperOps, this is the dashboard. You have the widget library. You can pick and choose any of the widgets that you need, and you can create your own dashboard, which is specific to your login. And you can also see that the unified part that I mentioned, where you can see your tickets, tasks, projects, assets, clients, contracts, reports, documentation, everything in a single platform. Now, let's go to codes, because we want to have a look at code management. So let's say that I want to create a code for Michael for 5 new employees. And I would like to associate it to a client. And then I would like to add the items. Let's say we need a bunch of items. I'm just adding random service items over here. The quantity needs to be 5 because we are trying to onboard 5 employees. So now that I have created it, I'm going to add the expiry date for this particular code. Every code needs to have an expiry date because the amount that you specify is only valid for a particular period of time. So you need to specify an expiry date. Now the code has been created successfully, and you get to send the code to the person that has requested it. So I have sent it to Michael for 5 new employees. I'm clicking send, and you can see that there was a link to the code. And here you can see that there is an email for the 5 new employees. This is the code that we just sent. This is the email inbox of Michael, who is at the requester side, at the client side. And here is the link to the code. Your requester does not even have to log in to their portal to view the code. They can just click on the link that is available in the email, and they'll be able to approve or reject or download it as a PDF, and they can also go to the portal. Now, let's say that I am Michael. I am looking at all of these, and this number seems to be too high for me. So I want to reject it, and I want to mention that I want to find something that's less expensive. So what I've done is, as Michael, the requester, I have rejected the code, and I have also mentioned the reason as to why I rejected the code. Now let's come here and have a look at what happens at the code that I have just sent. Now I am in the technician side now, where here I can see that Michael has rejected the code, and I would like to know why Michael has rejected the code. And here is the conversation history, which appears like a chat window. So everything that is being communicated about this particular code will be available as a conversation over here. You can also respond here saying, sure, Michael, let me revise the code and send you a new version. Now I'm going to go back, and here you can see that I do not have to create a new code, which is the case with most of the other code management platforms, but I can just revise this existing code so that I do not have to go through, I do not have to have multiple codes with the same, for the same ticket, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to give a percentage discount. I want to give a 20% discount over everything. Now the amount has significantly reduced. Now it's up to you. You can give a discount either in the amount or in percentage. And you can also choose to edit any of the prices that you've mentioned, even after sending the code, the first version of the code, right? So now I have given a 20% discount for all the line items here. Now again, I want to click and send it. And you can see that the same requester to whom you have sent previously, that email ID has been captured here. So now you do not have to type in the email ID of the requester. Now I'm going to send it again. The code has been updated successfully. Now let's go back to Michael's email. I can see that there are 2 new messages. I can see that the first text, the comment that I have mentioned, has also gone as an email. Let me revise the code and send you a new version. And here is the other version that I have sent. Now let me click on this link. And let's have a look at the edited version. Now, the edited version is available as a code. Now, as Michael, when I see it, I understand that yes, he has given a 20% discount, but the pricing is still too high. I'm looking at all of these. Do I really need 5 depot support? Do I really need 5 external hard drive? I don't think so. I can just do with 2 external hard drive and maybe 1 depot support. So I'm still going to reject it and say that let's have just 1 external hard drive and 1 depot support. Now again, I have rejected this code, and I have also suggested what is it that I want to be changed. Now let's come back to the technician's view, where again, this code has been rejected. And now if you want to look at why the code has been rejected, you can see that the conversation, all of the conversation starting from the first code that you sent, the iteration, the second code that you've sent, and the second comment, everything is captured in this conversation thread. And Michael has mentioned that he just needs 1 external hard drive. Sure. Done. So I understand that he just wants 1 external hard drive and 1 depot support. So I'm going here and I'm changing it. I'm going to revise the code, and I'm going to change the numbers as requested by the requester. I'm going to make it just 1 and this one 1. Now the price has significantly reduced, and I'm going to click and send it again to Michael. Hopefully, this time Michael will be happy with the code that he's received. Here you can see that, yes, the sure done text has also been sent as an email and another code has been sent. I'm opening the final code, and now hopefully everything should be fine for me to approve this code. Now the price has significantly reduced and the numbers have also changed. So I am, as Michael, I'm happy with the quotation. So I'm going to approve this code. And you can see that Michael Scott's signature has also been added. And if there are any approval comments, that can also be added. Approval done by Michael or approval done by Tasha on behalf of Michael. Anything that needs to be added as a comment can also be added. So here you can see that now this code has been approved. Now let's see if the code has been approved here. On the technician side, this code has been approved. Now, let's say that a code has been approved and you still want to have a look at what are all the changes that were made in this particular code. You will be able to look at that by looking at the version history that is available here. In the other code management vendors that are available in the market, you will have different codes every time that you make an edit. You will be generating a new code, which makes maintaining the history and understanding what changes were made and for what reasons really, really hard. And we've solved that by building the version history over here. Now, by clicking at this, you'll be able to see all of the versions that were done. So the version history was the first one, where there was no discount and there were 5 depot support and 5 external hard disks. The second version was the one where we had 20% discount across all of the line items, but we still had 5 line items. Now, these are the 2 older versions of this code. The latest version of the code is the one that got approved, which has 1 quantity for these 2 line items and 20% discount. Now, as a technician, you have clear idea of what went on with the codes. And as a client, you will also have an idea of what went on with the code. Now that the code has been approved, the next step is to generate an invoice for this approved code. It's a one-click process where you just click generate invoice. And the invoice for the approved code has been generated. Now, what you can do is you can click send invoice and send it right away, or you can edit the invoice. Even after this, you can add a note, or you can export it as CSV, or you can download it as PDF. Now, if you click send invoice, it sends the invoice directly. Or if you do not want to send the invoice right away, then all you need to do is just leave it as is, and the invoice will be sent to your client based on the schedule that is predetermined and predefined in the contract that you have drawn with your client. So if you have a contract drawn with your client, which says the invoices will be sent to the client on the 5th of every month, then this invoice will be sent to your client on the 5th of every month. Okay, so that said, this shows how code management really helps MSPs with their billing process and how it streamlines everything related to code management and billing as well. Now, to give myself a little bit of rest, I'm going to launch another poll. So please go ahead and respond to the poll. I'd like to understand how many of you here are already using code management in your environment. And if you do not use code management at this point, and if you're interested in trying it, please go ahead and select yes. We will enable code management for you in your account so that you'll be able to start using it. And if you want to check it out later, you can select that option as well. So please go ahead and respond to the poll, which will give us a clear idea of how many of you are interested in trying code management and how many of you are already using it. We'll take 10 more seconds for everyone to respond to the poll, and then we'll close the poll. Okay, looks like we have all of the responses, and looks like many of you want to try the code management. Some of you are already using it, which is exciting, and some of you want to try it later, which is great still. Thank you so much for responding to the poll. Now, the other functionalities that I would like to show you, which are comparatively smaller, are deferred patching, wake on LAN Windows, contract line items, and HaloPSA integration. Now, most of these are available right within the same page. So I'm going to go through all of them within a single page. So let me take you to the solution again. Okay, here we are. So let's first have a look at deferred patching. So I'm going into policy management, and I'm going to go into the Windows workstation policies. And under Windows workstation policies, I'm going to go into patch management. And here you can see that there are different ways in which the approvals happen. For critical updates, which are important, the approval is automatic. And for the optional critical updates, the update is manual. For others, it is manual. For some of these, you want to defer them from getting updates, right? You do not want these patches to be deployed immediately, but you want them to wait for a few days before they could be updated or before they could be deployed. So for those, what you can do is you can select the option defer right here. So under patch management, under approval configurations, you can select the ones for which you want to defer. I'm just going to randomly select a few and say defer. Okay, so I have selected defer for a bunch of it. Now, when I say defer, I also want to define how long I wanted to defer. Do I want it to wait for 3 days? Do I want it to wait for 7 days? I need to be able to define the period to which it should defer. And that is available right here. So you can defer the patch deployment by how many ever days that you want, or if you wanted to defer by weeks, you can still go ahead and do that. So this is how you can defer patch deployment. Now, this is a very this is a one-click setup that you can do, but the impact that it has on your functionality, on your process, on your monitoring process is huge. When you do not have the option to defer patch management, then you are forced to either put manual, which means that it has to wait for a manual intervention for it to be updated. Usually this is done when there is a new update and you want to wait for a period of time before you can update so that you can see if it has good impact or if it has a negative impact. But instead of that, you could use defer, which means that the waiting period is done. And if there is no negative impact, there is no need for a manual intervention. Instead, the update can automatically be deployed. That is the impact of defer patch management. And you'll be able to do it right from policy management, under patch management, and in the approval configurations. Now, once you do this, you have the option to enable wake on LAN. Now, for some of the updates to go live, the asset must be online. And how do you get the asset to be online? If the requester or if the person who is handling the asset is not available, if no one is there to manually switch it on, then how do you get the asset to wake up and get the updates done on that asset? For that very purpose, we have enable wake on LAN, which means that this will wake the asset up and it will deploy and install the patches immediately. Now, this is very important for any security updates that come in. When there is a security update, you will not be able to wait until the asset goes back up online. You should be able to wake the asset up and deploy the security update so that when the person comes in and logs in, there is no security threat. Now, these are the two functionalities that I wanted to show you right here, which is Defer Patch Management and Enable Wake on LAN. Okay, now that we've seen this, let's go ahead and have a look at the next one, which is the contract line item reminders. I see that a bunch of you have raised questions. I will be getting to the questions towards the end of this webinar. Until then, please keep bringing in your questions in the Q&A panel. We will be coming to it towards the end of the webinar, which is in the next 20 minutes. Okay, so for the contract line item reminders, let me first take you to a contract before I could start talking about it. So we are going into the client Goodman Associates. And here you can see everything that is related to this client, be it the conversation, the codes that have been sent, the contracts, the requesters, documents, tickets, everything that is pertaining to this client is available right here. And you can see that the contract that you have signed with this client is also available here. And here are all the subscription items that you have with this client. Now, let's say that you want to add a subscription line item to this client. Let's say that I want to add monitoring service. And however, you want this to be billed monthly. Now, when you say monthly, you want to give a start date and an end date. Let's say that the billing start date, I want the bill to go up to October 17th. Now, here is where you can set up reminder for the expiry date, which means that when this date reaches, you need to be reminded that, hey, this subscription line item is expiring for this particular user. Do you want to renew it? Do you want to ask the client if they want to renew this service item or if they're okay with the expiration of the service item? For that, it is impractical to remember the dates when every service item for all of your clients expire, or you will have to maintain an Excel sheet separately for this. To solve for this particular pain point, we have added the ability to send a reminder to you when the expiry date is nearing. And you can set it up based on how long of a timeline do you want for you to act upon this reminder. So let's say that I want a week's time for me to work on the expiration of this particular service item, contract service item, right? So if I say 7 days, then on the 10th of September or 10th of October, I am going to receive a reminder that says that this particular service item monitoring service is going to expire in the next 7 days, and it's time now to make some action on it. So this really helps technicians to stay ahead of what's going on with their clients and with the subscription line items. So this saves a lot of time, and this also makes sure that you do not miss out on any of the potential subscriptions that you will have to get paid for. That said, the next line item, the next functionality that we have built is HaloPSA integration. Now, we also have a PSA in our platform, right? But we still understand that some of you already use HaloPSA, and either because of a contract or either because you have all of your client data, all of the information already in HaloPSA, and you do not want to do the migration right now. If you still want to continue using HaloPSA for a while before switching to SuperOps entirely, we still want to help you with at least the RMM side of things. And hence, we built HaloPSA integration, which means that when you receive a ticket in your HaloPSA, you will see a button within HaloPSA which says, go to the asset that is associated to this particular ticket. Once you click on that button, you will be taken to the asset within SuperOps, and you will be able to troubleshoot the asset right from there. Now, this is a tight integration, which means that once you come into SuperOps, whatever changes that you make is also going to reflect in the PSA that you have. If you're going to troubleshoot and fix it, and if you're going to solve this, you'll be able to close the ticket in HaloPSA as well. If you'd like to use this functionality, please let me know. I would be happy to help you with this. So if you're already using HaloPSA and if you'd like to try the integration, please select yes. We do not provide license for HaloPSA. So this integration is for those MSPs who already have HaloPSA and who are bringing the license with them. So go ahead and answer the poll while I sip some water. Okay, looks like we have received some responses. Let's give 5 more seconds for all of you to respond as well. Okay, thank you so much. Let me end the poll right here. Okay, so everything that we have seen so far, be it code management or deferred patching or wake on LAN or HaloPSA integration, all of these, right? All of these have been built with the aim of doing at least one of these. Be it code management, it increases your technician efficiency, it increases your predictability with response to cash flow and profitability. When it comes to deferred patching or when it comes to wake on LAN, it increases your technician efficiency. It improves your client satisfaction because it reduces the fixes that need to be done. And when it comes to HaloPSA integration, it of course increases your technician efficiency because you already have HaloPSA integration. You do not have to have another vendor for PSA just because they do not provide a single point solution. So everything that we have built over the quarter and everything that we are currently building are aimed towards bringing at least one of these outcomes for you, for the MSPs. That said, let's get into the question and answer section of the session. I'm going to be going from the bottom up, which means the latest questions will be picked up first. I have a question from Ben. He asks, does the quoting functionality have the ability to include a scope of work statement? We have the ability to include anything that you would like to add in the email that you sent. So when you look, let me just take you to the section. Okay, let me go to the codes and let me just show this. Okay, so I'm going to revise this. Okay, so let's say that I'm making some change over here and I'm going to send it. Now here, you will be able to attach any of the document that you want to attach, be it scope of work or an image. Anything that you would like to attach can be attached in this email. So if you want to send the scope of work along with the code, you can go ahead and do that as well. I hope that answers your question, Ben. If you're looking at an inbuilt functionality to also raise a scope of work statement, we do not have that right now, but the workaround is that you can attach any document to the code. Ben has another question which says, for larger projects, can you structure a quote to propose the solution, then bill in milestone payments? You can also make a quote, you can build a quote and then associate it to a project, but we do not have this right now, Ben. It is in our roadmap for this year, where once you have a quote, you can associate it to either a ticket or a project or a task. So yes, what you're asking for will be done, but it is not available right now. We have another question which asks, what is your recommended post-sales process after a quote is approved and invoice sent? For example, create a ticket to track procurement, etc. Yes. So just as I was mentioning, We have in our roadmap, we have the ability to associate a ticket with a quote, and also a quote into converting a quote into a ticket. So once the quote is approved, the quote will be directly converted into ticket, which means every line item in the quote will be converted into a ticket and it will be assigned for a technician, so that the procurement of the vendor or of the hardware or getting the software subscriptions, all of those starts getting executed by the technicians. However, this is not available right now. We will have that in the roadmap. As I mentioned, Ben and everyone here, we have built a unified PSA RMM platform, and we have identified that quote management seems to be something that is central to MSPs as well. And hence, we have included that in our platform. So it is the step one at building the operating system for MSPs, as our vision says. So we have big plans for quote management within our product. We're going to be making a lot of enhancements, and all of these questions that you're asking are giving us insight. And some of these we also have in our roadmap already. Ben has a bunch of questions. Ben, I will come back to your questions. I will just answer a couple of other questions as well. Yaniv has asked if there is an extra charge for using quote management. Quote management is part of our highest package, Yaniv. If you're not a customer already, then I would suggest that you go for the highest package, because it comes with the unified platform, which means you get the AI functionality of intelligent alerting, and you also get functionalities like quote management and extra reporting aspects of it. So yes, there is no extra charge if you are a current customer of SuperOps, but if you're going to purchase SuperOps from now, yes, it will be in the highest package. There is quote management is not an add-on, but it's just that it's part of the highest package. Thomas has a question where he asks, is it possible to create monthly recurring invoicing using the code generator? We do not have a monthly recurring invoicing using the code generator. However, we do have scheduled actions, as part of which you can create monthly quotes, Thomas. Okay, so I'm coming back to Ben's questions, which is quote management provided within the cost of subscription, or is it an add-on available at an additional cost? How about I open up our pricing page, and that's because a bunch of you have questions in this. So let me just go ahead and show it to you. So as you can see here, quote management is available in 2 of our packages. If you're looking only for PSA, then it is available in our standard package, which is $59 per month per technician. And everything that you see here, including quote management and side conversations, which is coming new, I'd like to talk a couple of minutes on that as well. You can go for this. Or if you would also like RMM to be part of your platform, then you can go for this package, which is $129 per month, but it comes with all the functionalities in our platform, including network monitoring and RMM APIs and all of the security features and integrations. So this is our pricing model, and it is transparent. What you see is what you get here. There are no contracts, no hidden charges. So I'd suggest all of you to go to our website, superops.ai, and go to the pricing tab here and have a look at all of the functionalities that you get for different packages. Okay, so the next question is, how do the products or service libraries get built out, or where does the quoting pull them from? Are you manually typing in every product or service every time on every quote? No, Ben. So the service items and the products are available in our service catalog, which you would be setting up once you purchase SuperOps, or once you start your subscription with SuperOps. One of the first things that you'll be doing is importing your clients, their assets, and then importing the requesters and your technicians. And then the second one is to add all the services in your service catalog, right? You build your service catalog even before you start using the product or the vendor. So as you build out the service catalog, that is where the quote is going to pull those products and services from. You do not have to add them every time you build a quote. We would like to, okay, there is another question where Ben asked, we would like to include serial numbers for equipment on sales invoices. Is there a way to edit invoices after being sent to clients for payments? Yes, you can edit the invoices after sending it to payments. So you will still be able to make notes and add the serial numbers of the equipments even after you send it to your clients. And Ben has another question where he asks, can you structure a quote where all the labor is included? Can you group items together in a quote, such as within or under a header, or is the current functionality only to list all items one after the other? So right now we have the functionality to list all items one after the other. But this is an interesting request. We have not received such requests so far. So I will take it up to the product managers and have a discussion on how feasible this will be to do it then. Okay, we have another question from Thomas where he asks, is the ability to create code templates in the roadmap? Hey, Thomas, we already have the ability to build code templates and also the emails that go out with the code. So feel free to check them out. Let me also try and show it to you as I'm here. I'm just not too familiar with where exactly the templates are. Let me just go ahead and search and see if I can find it. Okay, I am aware that you will be able to do that. However, I am not very sure on where exactly you will be able to do it. So I'm going to go to the website and show you that we will be able to do that. Okay, as mentioned in our website, we already have the ability to customize your code template to build out however you want your code to look. So this is completely possible, Thomas. Yes. Hey, David. Yes, I am recording this. And yes, I will be sending out this recording to all of you who have registered. So yes, sure. I should have mentioned this before I began the session. But yeah, I am recording this session and I will be sending this recording to everyone here. Okay, so we still have 5 more minutes of the session. Sure, David. So if there are any more questions, please go ahead and ask me those questions. If not, I would like to quickly tell you about the site conversations, which is the next functionality, the next big ticket feature, as we say internally, that we are building. How many of you are aware of what site conversations is? Is there anyone who already knows what site conversations is? Please go ahead and respond in the Q&A panel. Okay, looks like not many of you are aware of what site conversation is. So let me give you an example. Now that we have built a code, now you have an approved code where you have to buy 5 laptops, right? Now you need to identify the vendor for these 5 laptops. And out of these 5, it could be 2 of those could be Mac and 3 of those could be Windows, or 2 of those could be Windows and 1 could be Linux. So you'll have to identify the vendor for procuring these 5 laptops, right? And for this, what do you do now? You will probably go to your inbox and reach out to the vendors in your contact list and try to get the prices from different vendors, see who gives the best price possible and who can deliver it the fastest and all of it. But then you have to maintain all of these conversations in your inbox, in the email, which is outside of your PSA RMM platform. But all of these conversations are associated to this one particular ticket, to this one particular code, right? So we thought that, hey, what if all of these conversations could be had within the platform itself. What if the MSP owner or the admin or the technician can have these conversations right from within the PSA RMM platform? And that's what we're building now, which is bringing the ability to have conversations outside of your client, outside of your technicians, right within your PSA RMM platform. It could be with your hardware vendor, or it could be with one of the software vendor, or someone who is helping out with logistics, or someone who is helping out with some other area, or a contract technician who is specifically for on-site. It could be any of these outside conversations that you're having, right? These conversations, you will be able to have them right within your PSA RMM platform. So that is what is brewing in SuperOps. So the next big announcement and the next webinar mostly will be on site conversations, and I'm very excited for it. And I'm hoping that you will also be excited for site conversations. Okay, Ben, I see you have another question, which is the ability to create purchase orders associated with a client's quote or invoice. We currently do not have that, Ben. We only have the ability to build out quotes, send them to the client, get them approved, and send the invoice. We do not have the ability to create purchase orders. However, as I just mentioned, we are building site conversations, which is the first step into vendor interactions, right? So we want to create a whole new portal for vendors right within SuperOps. Just like how we have client portal, we want to build a vendor portal where you can have all of your vendors and you can have all the purchase order and the vendor conversations going on right from within the PSA RMM platform. So this is part of our extended roadmap. But yes, this is something that we have already thought about, and we definitely see value in building this. Hope that answered your question, Ben. Perfect. Okay, Thomas, I see that you have a question on RMM APIs. Let me quickly pull something up for you. So here is the developer.superops.ai platform, the page where we have all of our APIs. And here you can see that we have different things, right? Let's say for alerts, what are all the different APIs that you have that you can use to get all of these functionalities? So we have quite an extensive set of APIs that you can use. So you have the alerts for assets, you have get asset, which is fetches an asset, which is the list of asset activities. So go ahead, and how about I give you this URL in the Q&A panel so that, or in the chat panel, so that all of you can have a look at the developer webpage where you have all of the APIs. Hope that answered your question, Thomas. Thank you, David, for attending the session. Hey, Mark, I see that you're asking questions. However, we have exceeded the time. So those of you who have to leave, please feel free to leave. I am still recording the session, and I will be sending the recorded video for all of you. And those of you who would like to stay back and get your questions answered, please feel free to stay back as well. I have nothing much to do after this anyway, so I'm happy to stay back and answer your questions. Okay, Mark, so you've asked a question about the documentation for the security standards that SuperOps abides by. So yes, we have a SOC 2 certification, which again, proves the security standards that we abide to. And we are also in the process of getting HIPAA certification for us. So I will share a document with you for the security standards. Mark? And Mark, you have another question. If I needed servers for this to be based in contiguous US, can my instance be geographically based in the US? Okay, we have a data center in the US, so I'm not very sure. I'm not sure if I understand your question right, Mark. We have a data center in the US, and you do not have to be in the US. We have customers from all over the world. We have customers in Europe. We also have customers in Africa and Asia as well, in Canada. So you really do not have to be based in the US. But I don't understand what is contiguous US. I'm sorry. Okay, Greg has asked a question, which is, when will SuperOps be HIPAA compliant? I hate to tell you this, Greg, but we are in the same spot as well. We are also impatiently waiting for the HIPAA compliance to come in. We have done all the process from our end. We are just waiting for them to get back to us on the certification, right? So, and we're not getting clear timelines. However, this process has been going on for the last 8 months. So we are hoping that it'll be done in the near future. I mean, at least in the next month or two, we are hoping to get the HIPAA compliance. I understand the urgency behind it, and we fully empathize with the urgency, and we are following up, and we're following up with HIPAA, and we're following up with them continuously to get it as soon as possible. So yes, hopefully we'll get it soon. Oh, Puri has explained Mark's question. All HIPAA and GLBA monitoring has to remain in the US. Okay. So we are in the process of getting the HIPAA compliance. If that helps with the question, Perry, I'm not too sure. But yeah, we're working towards getting the HIPAA compliance, and we have data centers in the US, and we have customers who are geographically present in the US and also outside of US. So yeah. Oh, got it. So if the customers are in the US, then the monitoring should also be in the US. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Perry. Thank you for explaining that to me. Oh, thank you, Perry. So Mark, Perry has responded to your question. In his words, for Mark's question, he is safe using you guys. That's what Perry has mentioned. Thank you, Perry, for taking up this question. Mark has a follow-up question where he asks, when we sign up, can we distinguish that we need the instance in US soil? In US, this is a cloud platform, and the data center is in the US. So does that make it that it is in the US soil? Okay, that should be right. Perfect. Perry has said yes. So Mark, I think you're good. He's safe. Thank you, Perry. Thank you for answering Mark's question, and thank you for helping me out here. I understood something new today. Thank you, Mark, for the interesting question. Okay, so we are over the time by 7 minutes. I'm happy to stay by and chat, but if you all got to go, you can give Mark my phone. Sure, Perry, thank you so much. How about I send an email to Mark with you in CC, and if you can help him out, that'll be great. Or I can give him your phone number too, that works too. Perfect. Mark, Perry has come forward to help you with your questions. So I'm going to send an email and also add his phone number so that you can ask him any of the questions that you have. Oh, sure. He has sent it already. So let me send it to Mark right away. Looks like I cannot send it to Mark alone here. Okay, I'm going to copy paste your number, Perry, and then I'm going to send it to Mark later via email with you and CC, of course. Perfect. This has been a great session. I'm loving it. I'm loving the engagement. Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Thomas, Mark, Ben, everyone who have asked the questions. Greg, I enjoyed this session. It was very lively. It was engaging, and it was great. Okay, thank you. Let me come back to you with the next feature probably in a couple of weeks' time, which will be side conversations. I am very excited for it. Hope you are too. And have a great rest of the day. See you soon.